Thank you very much and very good morning.
Good morning.
Very, very happy to be here. I remember almost, I think maybe that 10 years ago when you had a conference here, some vague recollection, somebody trying to get me to Abu but not succeeding. I was busy with something, so so I'm very happy that finally, thanks to Thiru, I am able to make it here, and it's a pleasure to be with all HR managers, line managers, and the young kids from the school. Very, very happy to see them. I don't find them now. Have they gone off somewhere? I think it will be nice if somebody can.
Another learning. Please don't allow them to go in future. At least the inaugural letters.
That will be very nice if by chance you can get them, because I wanted to have something to say to them as students too. So they can come at any point of time. It doesn't matter, they have to be here. So I'm so happy that you are able to, Thiru, you have been able to think of such a mixture of people. So appropriately, I think you asked me to talk more about life in general than focused on HRD. But HRD is so much in my blood, it becomes very difficult not to talk of HRD. I'll keep it somewhere towards the end and draw lessons, but I'll draw lessons for whatever little I have learned. And thanks for the nice prayer that has been recited by you. I think that prayer is, when everyone was closing their eyes, I was also closing, because for me, everyone in this room is a guru, because we learn from each other, and that is what all religions teach. Recognize the God in our neighbors, because I think that is what is the most interesting part of this and so on. I want to begin by a little film here. I hope the sound effect is here. It's not a why you chose or I choose, and I like this title called Make a Difference. This is a very small movie that is
As she stood in front of her 5th grade class on the first day of school, she told the children an untruth. Like most teachers, she looked at her students and said that she loved them all the same. However, that was impossible, because there in the front row, slumped in his seat, was a little boy named Teddy Stallard. Miss Thompson had watched Teddy the year before and noticed that he didn't play well with other children, that his clothes were messy, and that he constantly needed a bath. And Teddy could be unpleasant. It got to the point where Miss Thompson would actually take delight in marking his papers with a broad red pen, making bold X's, and then putting a big F at the top of his papers. At the school where Miss Thompson taught, she was required to review each child's past records, and she put Teddy's off until the last. However, when she reviewed his file, she was in for a surprise. Teddy's 1st grade teacher wrote, "Teddy is a bright child with a ready laugh. He does his work neatly and has good manners. He is such a joy to be around." His 2nd grade teacher wrote, "Teddy is an excellent student, well liked by his classmates, but he is troubled because his mother has a terminal illness, and life at home must be a struggle." His 3rd grade teacher wrote, "His mother's death has been hard on him. He tries to do his best, but his father doesn't show much interest, and his home life will soon affect him if some steps aren't taken." Teddy's 4th grade teacher wrote, "Teddy is withdrawn and doesn't show much interest in school. He doesn't have many friends, and he sometimes sleeps in class." By now, Miss Thompson realized the problem, and she was ashamed of herself. She felt even worse when her students brought her Christmas presents, wrapped in beautiful ribbons and bright paper, except for Teddy's. His present was clumsily wrapped in heavy brown paper that he got from a grocery bag. Miss Thompson took pains to open it in the middle of the other presents. Some of the students started to laugh when she found a rhinestone bracelet with some of the stones missing and a bottle that was 1/4 full of perfume. But she stifled the children's laughter when she exclaimed how pretty the bracelet was, putting it on and dabbing some of the perfume on her wrist. Teddy Stallard stayed after school that day just long enough to say, "Miss Thompson, today you smell just like my mom used to." After the children left, she cried for at least an hour. On that very day, she quit teaching reading, writing, and arithmetic. Instead, she began to teach children. Miss Thompson paid particular attention to Teddy. As she worked with him, his mind began to come alive. The more she encouraged him, the faster he responded. By the end of the year, Teddy had become one of the smartest children in the class. And, despite her lie that she would love all the children the same, Teddy became one of her teacher's pets. A year later, she found a note under her door from Teddy, telling her that she was the best teacher he'd ever had in his whole life. 6 years went by before she got another note from Teddy. He then wrote that he had finished high school 3rd in his class, and she was still the best teacher he ever had in his whole life. 4 years after that, she got another letter saying that while things had been tough at times, he'd stayed in school. He'd stuck with it and would soon graduate from college with the highest of honors. Again, he assured Miss Thompson that she was still the best and favorite teacher he'd ever had. Then 4 more years passed, and yet another letter came. After he got his bachelor's degree, he had decided to go a little further. She was still the best and favorite teacher he'd ever had. But now his name was a little longer. The letter was signed Peter F. Stallard, M.D. The story does not end here. There was yet another letter that spring. Teddy said he'd met this girl and was going to be married. He explained that his father had died a couple of years ago, and he was wondering if Miss Thompson might agree to sit at the wedding in the place that was usually reserved for the mother of the groom. Of course, Miss Thompson did, and guess what? She wore that bracelet, the one with several rhinestones missing. Moreover, she made sure she was wearing the perfume that Teddy remembered his mother wearing on their last Christmas together. They hugged each other, and Dr. Stallard whispered in Miss Thompson's ear, "Thank you for believing in me. Thank you so much for making me feel important and showing me that I could make a difference." Miss Thompson, with tears in her eyes, whispered back. She said, "Teddy, you have it all wrong. You were the one who taught me that I could make a difference. I didn't know how to teach until I met you."
A good friend of mine, another colleague called Sh T V Rao, he would come have a cup of tea with me. He was like you and me, an ordinary person, a programming assistant in IIM Mandura. Kiran Majumdar Shah made a mark. Meet her about maybe 40 years ago. Just went to Australia, did her masters in breweries, came back struggling hard to find a job because women are not meant to be employed by brewery. Goes to ICICI Bank, won't even apply, entertain her application form. Then finally starts something in a car shed, borrowing 10,000 rupees to experiment with bionics or something. Kiran Majumdar Shah. You look at it. Abdul Kalam couldn't have enough to eat. His mother was feeding him and she herself was starving, feeding idlis and starving. Okay, you said big people. Now don't tell me about it. No, there are equally big people with similar kind of stories. There is another chap I have mentioned in my book, Marriages Will Make a Difference. This person, just about 10 years ago, when he graduated from IIM Ahmedabad, he said that I don't want to seek a job. He started idlis, selling idlis. Because when he was young, he had the same story like Abdul Kalam. His mother was selling idlis and feeding him and was starving herself. And one day he noticed, he in fact asked his brother, why is it every day after giving us our food in the night, mother only drinks water and sleeps? Then what his brother told him shocked him, that they didn't have enough to eat. So this person said, no, I want to show that idlis today, by selling idlis also you can make an enterprise. So he started, very interestingly, this is Sharat Kumar, about him, I have written this story, started an idli factory, didn't seek anybody, there are many people who are willing to give him. Then after some time, when he went to Chennai, he wanted to contest elections and to become an MP. He said, my desire is not to become an MP, my desire is, now that I have done enough on idlis and made a success story, I want to find out what is it that makes you to become an MP. I know for sure that I am not going to win the elections, but I wanted to have an experience. He started lecturing about his own life. And one young girl from his school, who just finished her 12th standard or something like that, writes to him, sir, I have not been finding a job with the kind of marks I have had, and I have struggled hard, and one day I was even entertaining the thought of committing suicide. You know, nowadays, sometimes some of these chaps immediately, when failure comes, you start committing suicide. I happened to hear your lecture. You went around and addressing students, and I changed my mind. I wanted to demonstrate to the world, I can make something. So you inspired me. Now this letter inspired him. He said, now my job is to go around colleges and talking to children my success story so that I can make a difference. So you don't have to be Ravi Mathai, Vikram Sarabhai, but you can be Sharad Kumar in doing. Now there was another interesting story I found. There was this boy who was son of a DGM in an NTPC. And I mean, his father became DGM, and maybe he retired as a general manager. But I think what he remembers is the time when his father was DGM. He went to this Delhi public school because, you know, in some of these organizations, you are in a transferable job. You keep changing. So he went to Delhi public school, did very well. Got into IIT Bombay, did very well. Worked for 2 years in a decent private sector company, drawing a reasonably good salary. Got his way into IIM. And for summer training, went to work with a bank in Germany. And there, he went on reflecting about Germany, about work life and so on and so forth. At the end of it, he said, one thing I am going to do is never to take any paid employment in any company. Because I don't find working in a private sector, working in Germany, working in multinational is going to be of any great challenge. Because all these companies, you have a boss, you have KRAs, you have KPAs, you have interpersonal competence, you have customer orientation, you have balanced scorecard, all these kind of things, they don't excite me anymore. Nothing more is going to excite. I want to do something different. Something. Now what is it different I want to do? He didn't know. All that he could do was not to opt for placement. He said, I don't want to opt for placement. What do you do? He said, maybe I will start working for small and medium enterprises. They need a lot of management inputs. They are the only ones which require a comprehensive kind of an input. So he offered himself a consultancy services for small, medium enterprises. 2 years he worked hard, did not succeed, didn't earn anywhere near what would have earned if he got an employment. And he kept thinking, and it occurred to him I was lucky to be born in a family with my father being a DGM, getting transferred from place to place, and getting CBSE education. And that is how I learned mathematics and science. And that is how I got into IIT. And that is how I got into IIM. Think of millions of children who don't have access to good school. And they can't learn good science and technology. What can I do to help them? Do I mean to say that there are no people like me in these schools? He said, now this is the mission that I have in my life. I will start discovering simple methods of teaching science and technology to 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th grades of children so that they can discover the scientists and technologists. He is no different than Abdul Kalam, who after having retired as president went around talking to the schools. Now you have Abdul Kalam there, you have people like this person who started a very interesting company called Butterfly Feeds. Those of you, ma'am, in Hyderabad, you may have heard of this person, Butterfly Feeds. He employs about 15 to 20 people, again from IITs and other places. Their job is to discover simple tools of teaching science and mathematics to 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th grade children. And suppose he is working with 3,000 municipal schools to get them better educated. What is it that he is doing? He is bringing out the talent in this. Now these are all the people whom I call as visionaries. So you have doers, you have achievers, and you have visionaries. And fourth category I have come across are the people whom I call as missionaries. Now these are the people who are devoted to a single cause in their life. They pick up some cause and then they start working, they devote their entire white revolution, Dr. Kurian. So what is Dr. Kurian? 1947, 48, if you look at Dr. Kurian, 49 or early 50s, sent by government of India to USA on a scholarship, returned back, there is a bond, he has to work in a rural area. He didn't want to go like every one of us. He said, no, I don't want to go. Where is this Anand? I don't even know where this small village, why should I go there? But he was told, sorry, you have to go. So he went there. And when he went there, he started observing a number of things, worked with this Tribhuvandas Patel, and started asking him these questions. That how come porcelain brown dairy is managed well, and you can't manage your own kind of a dairy, there is so much of problems with it. And then observed how the milk cooperatives were getting formed, and created Amul, and didn't keep quiet. He came up with a model for White Revolution, which he called as, at the time he didn't know there is going to be White Revolution, National Dairy Development Board. And at the time he thought that we also need to prepare managers for rural areas and things of. All through his life he is devoted to one particular cause. Or for that matter, Mother Teresa. You will find several of these people. So missionaries are people who at an early age pick up something and all through their life they are devoted to that particular kind of a cause. Okay, these are the four categories of managers. Yeah, I have come across, I have put it in this and given many examples. If you happen to read this book, you will get these examples. Now the question I started asking is that now how come some of us get stuck as doers and some get stuck as visionaries, as only achievers, not go to the visionary level? Is it possible to move, or does that movement, like what you said, sir, have to wait till you are 50? Or my answer was no, it's not necessary. You don't have to wait till 50 to be a missionary or a visionary. If you have the right kind of a family attitude, you begin with missionary spirit at an early age. Even in school, you can start becoming a missionary or a visionary. You start articulating things. Now that is what I have a friend by name, I have a colleague by name Anil Gupta in IIM Ahmedabad. If you have heard of him, he is also vice chairman of the Innovations Foundation of India. Mashelkar and he, I think they are the ones. In fact, they created that particular thing. Year round, they go around the schools across the country and try to find out innovative ideas from school children and make an exhibition of this. And this exhibition is also shown in President of India. He opens it for 15 days and it is available. Not too many people visit, but at least I think this is a good kind of an innovation. We find excellent ideas coming from school children. These are all the visionaries. So if you want to be a visionary, you can be an achiever, but you can always be a visionary starting from the school level. It can be a college level. It can be as an employee. Now when I say this to managers, managers normally tell me, Professor Rao, please give this lecture to our CEOs. Because they don't leave any time for us to be even achievers. They only treat us like doers. Because they dump us with so many targets, KPIs, etc., etc. Every minute is planned, so I can hardly plan my life. Do some of you say that? Because it's very important. If you don't achieve your KPIs, you don't get your increment. And if you are not an achiever, you don't get double increment. Or nowadays, performance-linked pay. Now, performance-linked pay is related to how good a doer you are if your boss is a doer or likes doer. If your boss is an achiever, you have no alternative but to be a doer. Because he wants to achieve by making you do. So you do that. So I have a boss who is a wonderful person, but you know his success is because of me. I do all that he claims to have done. Because you find, you see, the higher you go, more your KPIs and KRAs are editions of your juniors KRAs and KPIs. We have still not evolved a technology of defining unique KRAs for general managers, deputy general managers and senior managers. Because they have a knack of collecting all the. Now we have been struggling hard to say sorry, do not, because results are non-negotiable. You don't say results don't matter. Results don't need to be discussed. If you don't go at a particular kind of a rate, if you don't improve quality, if you don't improve your sales, etc., etc., and don't show your profitability, you're not going to exist there. This doesn't require a discussion. Okay? KPIs are ways in which you are going to achieve and ways in which you are going to do something more. In Steel Authority of India, one fine morning, the board decided we will devote 20% to KPIs called leadership KPIs on your own initiative. So they said we make it a 20% weightage we give to a KRA which is leadership, which is not told to you by anyone. You have to take some initiative and show that. You know, most of the managers, 20,000 managers, they went around the country. I think this was the room task time. We went around and we told them. Many managers said, sir, it's a very good idea. First time when you present. After some time, a request comes from many managers to HR department. Why don't you collect all such leadership KPIs in a manual and then sell it to us so that we can follow this? I mean, if somebody has to give you a manual, then what is the leadership that you are showing? That means even if you want to be a visionary or an achiever, people say, now please, I think treat us like a doer. So you will have to tell us when can you consider us an achiever. Even that we need a job description and things of that kind. And who perpetuates this? HR department. Okay, we perpetuate this unknowingly because we are not like the teacher. We are not come to a stage where the teacher said, I have stopped teaching reading, writing, arithmetic and I started real teaching. Be a HR manager who can make a difference to all the people. We are not come to that. So many people say, sir, I can't do this. Now to them I say one thing. Sir, very good. Be a good doer and an achiever 9 to 5. Because that is our bread and butter. But 5 to 9, be a visionary and missionary. 9 to 5, be a doer and achiever. 5 to 9, be a visionary and missionary. Which is longer? 9 to 5 or 5 to 9? 5 to 9 is longer. So you have long life. 8 hours you work as a doer and do what your company and you return back with pride that I have done my job today. That pride should give life to a new vision. Now, but what is the vision there? So much to do on earth. We think CSR is the job of HR department. Sorry, I think that's the worst thing to happen in a company. If CSR of a company has to be done by HR. CSR is the job of everyone in this country. Everyone. I mean, maybe you have to call it individual social responsibility, then ISR, then CSR. Because all of us who are in the top 5% or 2% of the socio-economic bracket of this country have responsibility to contribute to the other people. So we have to think of ISR. 5 to 9, you work for helping somebody else. teach in a school, offer 2 hours in a day, 2 hours in a week to teach in a school. You are doing something great and it changes your life. It tells you how to teach better in your school. It tells you how to manage your juniors in the office. It tells you so many things. Just 2 hours in a week or 2 hours in a day. You don't even require in 5 to 9 enormous amounts of time to be spent. But the desire has to be, you pick up, because here 9 to 5 there is a syllabus, 5 to 9 there is no syllabus. The world is at large, the community is at large. So each one of us have to find out what is it that, now that will come once you start doing it, the mission will come on its own. Now how did HRD become a mission for me? It became, in fact I wrote a book called HRD Missionary. Why did it? I don't think I want to be a HRD missionary. I was a mathematics, physics, chemistry student. When I did my BSc from Loyola College, Vijayawada. One fine morning, in fact this is what I wrote in my book, Effective People, which some of you are all going to get the copy. The book starts with my own experience of how I have learned from people, who are the people who made difference in my life. So the first is the principal of Loyola College, Father Gordon. For some reason he took a liking for me. I come from a very short fellow, youngest fellow, coming from a poor family. My mother used to come and leave me at the college. And this Father Gordon is an Irish priest. For some reason took interest in me. And after my pre-university, I took the college leaving certificate and wanted to do my engineering and go to. And this fellow thought, this fellow is too young to be an engineer. I assume that he thought so. He sent a message to my house saying that, look, I don't think it is right for him to do engineering. I will give him admission in BSc. Let him come and take admission here. He will get admission in Regional Engineering College, Surathkal. But I think he is too young and success in engineering may not be that easy for him. I have observed him, so better that he comes to. So I went there, I did my BSc. I passed in an ordinary second class. And he thought that even for BSc, I was saying that I'll go for MSc. He said, for your marks, you will get MSc Chemistry, but I think you must be doing something else. What is it that I should do? He said, I'll give you a demonstrator position in Loyola College in the chemistry lab, work for 2 years. At the time, I was, if I go over my actual date of birth, 1965, I would have been 18 years. The registered date of birth is different. In those days, for all of us, the registered dates of birth are always higher because you have to appear for the school final that you need to have it. So at the age of 18, he guessed that this chap is too young to go for MSc Chemistry. Now, I didn't even know this. He did not give that reason to me. He said, I'll give you 2 years demonstrator position. After that, we apply for MSc. One fine morning, he sent me an application form for Regional College of Education, Mysore, which was started by Ohio State University. And Ohio State University, in collaboration with NCRT, this was an experimental education college that was started with American collaboration, giving stipend to all those who joined. In those days, 75 rupees per month. He got an application, he sent a postcard to my house saying that I got an application for you, you come. So I went there, he said, fill this application because this may be good for you. 1 year you study and 1 year demonstratorship, then you go for MSc. Very consistent in his thought. So he suggested to me to go for, I went there, appeared for the interview, again the youngest fellow, there were people with MSc, botany, zoology, 5 years experience, they came to Regional College of Education, but for some reason, I think maybe I was young and maybe smart, so they also admitted me. And I topped in that university, in Regional College of Education that year. Then there is a professor of psychology by name Prafulan Dave, he just returned from USA at that point of time. He called me, he said that, what are your plans? Are you going to be a teacher? I said, yeah, there are, but I'm not sure if I'll be a teacher, but I'll go and join Loyola College MSc Chemistry for doing as a demonstrator and go for MSc Chemistry. He said, you'll be wasting your life. Why do you say so? Because I've observed you all through the year, you have a special aptitude for psychology. So I think if you can manage, you should do your MS Psychology than MSc Chemistry. I mean, he's not paid to give all this kind of a guidance. No, he saw something in the boy and then he tells the boy that maybe you may think of it. because he used to bring cats and rats to the classroom and taught us how they learn and what lessons can we learn in terms of teaching in the class. And I was all the time first, I was organizing everything, I was topping in the class. So he said, you have a special aptitude. He recognized that aptitude in me. And I told him, but who is going to admit me for psychology? Because you need a BA psychology to get into MS psychology in those days. Nowadays you can get into anything with anything. But those days it was. So he said, I will write a letter to somebody in Osmania University who is very innovative young professor, and he did all that. I can go on with this. These are the people who made a difference by pointing out, looking at the kid and saying that you have this aptitude. Now, every one of them, if I look at, I find that they made a difference in my life. They made a difference in my life. And whatever I have done later, I start looking at, now this is what has helped me to do. So Uday Parikh and I work for Larsen and Toubro. Larsen and Toubro asked us to examine their performance appraisal system. And I'm interested in learning. I think that when I meet somebody and that person talks to me, a young fellow, keep on taking notes. Like, sir, I've taken a lot of notes of what you are saying, and I found that what you have said is very, very closer to what, that's why I said that you may not learn much from you, because whatever you are going to say is what I have said. So there was this fellow by name A.M. Nayak, 1974. I didn't know that I am going to be talking to a future CEO of Larsen and Toubro. He's an ordinary manager, smoking, came out and he said, Professor Rao, because I am from IIM, so although you are a young fellow, everyone addresses you as a professor. Nayak is about 2-3 years elder than, 4 years maybe elder than me. In those days I didn't even know the age difference, because if you are a IIM professor, you are already bigger. So you don't even think of what is the age difference. And they will all say professor. Smoking, he said, where is performance in the performance appraisal? First you put some performance in the performance appraisal. I remember still his comment, 40 years later. And then went on talking a number of things. Like that, many managers. So we said that, look, the personnel department's job is to create happiness for people at work. Their main job, most people spend a large part of their waking life for the company. So company life, work life is the first, company is the first family. Their families are secondary, because less than 60% of the waking life is spent in the family, and more than 60% is spent in the work. Work is carried home. Home can't be carried to, because you have to leave all your worries at the gate. You can't discuss the fight you had with your neighbor or with your spouse in the company, whereas you can discuss the fight you have with your boss or with juniors, with your spouse and so on. If that is the person you look for, I want to share with you what happened in my company and things like that. So if you really look at it, 70% of our psychological life is organizations. 1974 we realized, so the personnel department, which is supposed to be looking after human being, I think should really be concerned about creating happiness at work. They should make organizations as a first family. They should really be involved in understanding the concerns of people. So then we discovered personnel department has no credibility to do all of it, because they are very good. They started as industrial relations, although in the beginning they were called welfare departments. They went to industrial relations, they became discipline, then they became recruiters, then compensation givers, and make sure that there is, see all this, you establish a health center. It is for people, but the way you behave, it looks as though you are a controller of the health center rather than creator of health for people. It is the way you approach. The personnel department, while they have done a large number of good things for people, nobody appreciated personnel department. And we said, okay, now we don't want therefore to give this task of creating happiness at work to personnel department. We create a new department and we call this department as Human Resource Development Department. We outlined a philosophy and we said this particular department should concentrate on competence building, commitment, that is happiness building, culture building, that is a lasting kind of an impact, and all kinds of things we came up with. And by 1980 I found a training department renaming as HRD department. In some company, personnel renaming as HR department. So I said HR, the way we philosophize is getting diluted. I went to Accelerate to set up a center. Then discovered that the center can do in a limited way. And that is what gave birth to the National HRD Network. We said we need a professional body all through the country, which has to, of course, it's a different story. As any association, if you follow Ravi Mathai's principle and say that this body should do on its own whatever it wants to do, it will have its own kind of a history. So, I mean, I am like any one of you, and maybe even much younger, much worse than some of you, but missionary spirit comes when you are devoted to a particular cause. And when you have, that goes on as a purpose. It is just that, you have to be. So you start eating, living, breathing that particular kind of a thing, whatever it is. I want to be different as a HR manager. I want to be different as a production manager. I want to be different as a CEO. I want to be different as a student. Whatever you want to. The moment you tell yourself, and this is how my life is going to be and things like that, that is a purpose. And I discovered about half a dozen kind of qualities that will help you to move from a doer to an achiever, and from an achiever to a visionary, and from a visionary to missionary. There are about 10 qualities I have talked of. I'll stop here. I want you to ask me any questions you like. Then I'll go on with some of these qualities. The only point I think I'm sure some of you have noted, I think we can make all these. We can develop all of these. Now these are some of the pictures. People developers who made a difference. Now these are all the people who have influenced M.R.M. Nair, who happened to be Director, HR, latest Chairman, Managing Director, he is no more. Rolf Linton, 1954 he came to India and he still keeps coming every year to India and does in his own way. And he must be in his 94, 95 years old. He and his wife, Ronnie Linton, who worked with Fred Roethlisberger of Haythorn Studies, those of you who have studied those, Uday Parikh, David McClelland, every year until he died, 97 he died, every year, 2 months he will come and spend in Ramana Maharshi Ashram. Every year. Nobody knew this. He will come and he will understand India, he will understand Indian philosophy, and his entire books are meant for the developing kind of countries. Now he came up with this so-called achievement motivation and things like Deepak Parikh, who wanted to provide home for millions of people homeless. Then Abdul Kalam, science and technology, and Narayan Murthy, and in public sector people like Krishnamurthy. If you look at HR people now, these are some of the names that I have put up, people like Santosh Mishra, Arvind Agarwal, and I think some of you worked with Ranjan Acharya from Wipro, R.R. Nair, Father Abraham, who continues to do a lot of work, and so on. And then below are the people who have done a lot of work. So these are some of the qualities. I'll go on to the qualities, but let me spend about 5 to 10 minutes if you have any questions or issues to raise on these. How to make a difference. Can you be a person with a purpose in life and have this objective of making a difference in the lives of others? And the moment you say that, I don't know how I'm going to make a difference, I'll make a difference, this is my objective, then I think a whole lot of things will follow and you will be a great person. If not in anybody's mind, in your own mind. And to be a great in your own mind is the first step for anything like success in life. If you don't have self-respect, you can't get respect from anybody else. It's possible to do that. So I'll talk of some of the qualities, but does it make sense? And where are you? Are you a doer? Are you an achiever? Or do you have a visionary? And do you think there is some scope in a JK group to be a visionary? 25,000 employees, I am one among those 25,000. How can I be a visionary? 25,000 become visionaries, what will happen to JK? No. See, it's not my cup of tea. Let me be a doer, do my KRS and get my additional increments. Good now, comfortable. Why invite trouble? Or no, I'll do all that. I'll get additional increments, 9 to 5. But 5 to 9, I'll do something else. Too much theory? Possible? Some of you may be doing it already.
Even speaking looks like it's not possible, like you don't even respond. Sir, one thing I want to add is that
yes, sir.
you just said just now also, primarily from a taking point of view. we have graduated over a period of time becoming fundamental the way life starts to a number game over a period of time. I think this is the time where HR, including business leaders or anybody who's involved, again to dissociate and bring the people focus actually into the game.
Yes.
We want everybody to become a leader. Performance evaluation, okay? We have all those SHL mechanism and other things. Everybody should score A. Now, ultimately, what is it for that man to reach A? First of all, we create pressure in him. Everybody can. As a human being, we are supposed to be competing all the time, right from the birth. Sir, how do we in HR and other places at least start this process of de-learning what we have learned till now?
What happened to JK? No. See, it's not my cup of tea. Let me be a doer, do my KRS and get my additional increments. Good now, comfortable. Why invite trouble? Or no, I'll do all that. I'll get additional increments, 9 to 5. But 5 to 9, I'll do something else. Too much theory? Possible? Some of you may be doing it already.
Even thinking looks like it's not possible, like you don't even respond. Sir, one thing I want to add is that
Yes, sir.
you just said just now also primarily from a JP point of view. We have graduated over a period of time becoming fundamental the way life starts to a number game over a period of time. I think this is the time where HR, including business leaders or anybody who's involved, again to dissociate and bring the people focus actually into the game.
Yes.
We want everybody to become a leader. Performance evaluation, okay? We have all those SHL mechanism and other things. Everybody should score A. Now, ultimately, what is it for that man to reach A? First of all, we create pressure in him. Everybody can. As a human being, we are supposed to be competing all the time, right from the birth. Sir, how do we in HR and other places at least start this process of de-learning what we have learned till now? Usme, I don't think the answer can be so fast. But I think we have to start a moment which I have been requesting to at least now go from existing what we are doing to some new paradigm, futuristic.
Start small. Yesterday, day before yesterday, we have in the Academy of HRD a group of students going to their doctoral program, participants. They are all age group 35 to 15, 55. One of them is a branch manager, was a branch manager in Goa of State Bank of India. And she is now working in corporate office. And we were discussing about change. She said, Professor Rao, we talked about it. Professor Rao, all that you say is fine. I can manage and bring change in bank officers. But when it comes to clerical staff, they are not governed by any rules and regulations we have. They create their own rules. And it is very difficult to change them. It was a starting point. I said that, look, I don't believe rules will change. It is your attitude. Then the very person who posed me this question, sir, I agree with you, and I'll tell you a story. I had three clerks who were working with me in State Bank of India, Goa branch. One of them is a lady who never honored any deadlines. She would never come on time. She would always leave early. And quite often she took all the leaves that are eligible in State Bank of India. If you only count the leaves you are eligible, half the time you don't need to work. So that is the way past accumulated and all that. And she was not doing anything. And if for some reason she is sitting there, she will not help anything. And any time that I told her that, look, you better might do some work and so on, she said, what, madam, what are you talking? You are looking at me, look at some other people who don't even come to office and sign the, I'm not even at least thankful to me, I'm not a union representative and so on. I had terrible time. But one fine morning I decided that, look, why is she behaving like this? And then I discussed it with her neighbors, I went to visit her place, And then I discovered that she is a widow. Her husband died. She has two grown-up children, whom I think she will have to, a girl and a boy, she has to bring up and so on. And then there are some, she had only one small property which were occupied by gundas. And last 2-3 years she has been going around the courts, spending her life only fighting these gundas. And that is exactly the reason why I think this entire thing was happening. And the behavior, the reason behind her behavior was the life struggle she has been going through. And the moment I discovered it and I started talking to her about, is there anything I can do to help you? Maybe a lawyer, maybe tell me a little more. So we entered into conversation about her trouble. And I think within 2 to 3 months I found her to be coming on time. I found her to be doing. That was not my intention. My intention was the moment I discovered that she has all kinds of problems, I started having a dialogue with her. I find a changed person. I said, you have answered your question. You were treating the person as a person now, not earlier. It is like this teacher. Right? That's Stillard's story. That's the way it is. So I believe we all need to start small. Find out one of the fellows whom you are not happy with in your own surroundings. Maybe a line manager, maybe in your own department, or then try it out. Try to understand that person. Understand yourself, understand your own children. Sometimes the modern children don't communicate to you enough because they have their own networks. Sometimes you discover what your son or daughter wants to do from other places and you are very surprised. Like, I came across a very interesting case of a general manager of a company telling that my son, I was very surprised. The other day he stunned me by saying that, Dad, until now I have done whatever you wanted me to do. I followed. You wanted me to go to engineering, I went to engineering. You wanted me to choose a particular stream, I chose. You wanted me to pick up the job that you preferred, I picked up. I worked for 3 years in this MNC. I am going to quit. And this is one time I don't want you to ask me any questions. 1 year, do not ask me any questions. And after 1 year, let us sit together. I asked my son, what do you want to do? He said, don't ask me that question. He said, he is learning music. He is learning music. I can't ask him the question. I don't understand what this younger generation is. He is learning music and he is going for some language classes, some French or German, some classes. What time and after an engineer working such a good job and things of that kind, I just don't understand. I said, follow his instructions. Wait for another year. Then you ask. 2 years later, this fellow went for his language so that he can go and work in another country. He learned music and other kind of things so that he wanted to express himself somewhere, manage his own kind of a life and so on. So, people are born with phenomenal potential. We always look them as the targets. For us, our juniors are targets to achieve other targets. Our colleagues, seniors, everyone is target. So I think start small. Think of something. If not in the organization, outside the organization. I always told HR people, very unsuccessfully, last 25 to 30 years I have been telling them, for a change, go for 2 weeks in a year and work with a not-for-profit organization. Just go there and work with it. You are an entirely changed person. You will understand what human resource development means. When you work in a rural area, work with a village, work with a hospital, work with a school and things of that kind. You will become a better kind of HR man. Start small. The purpose will come on its own. That is what I think. Yes, sir. So that's a good point that you have mentioned. Yes, sir.
For a greater purpose, we are so focused in terms of like a funnel that we have lost what is a greater purpose in terms of not as I'm not talking about philosophically greater purpose. Even in the office, are we doing here to PMA, PMA? Are we here to make life better for people? If the purpose is wider and bigger, then greater thoughts can be made. What is your views on that?
Yeah, greater purpose means what? What do you think of in terms of greater purpose? What do you consider as a greater kind of purpose? I agree with you, but what is a greater purpose? Now, don't wait for something to suddenly come up with. Because when we started the HRD Now today, for me, I mean, you started by calling HRD father of HRD. Somebody, father of HRD, you introduced me. I think I actually, Uday Parikh deserves to be called father of HRD. But when people say this, I accept it. The only thing I say is I have no child by name HRD. My son is called Raju. Rao, daughter is Nandini. I have no child, but you have given me this great thing. Now I have the whole burden of HRD on my head. I don't know how I'm going to go. Uday Parikh is lucky, no more. He doesn't have to carry the burden. Why is this? It's nice, interesting title. You feel nice that some people. But why? How? I never thought 1974 that one day I'm going to become father of HRD. Therefore, I should work for it and start HRD network. Nothing of that kind. I mean, you do your job. All the other kind of things will follow, right? The purpose, if you consistently follow a particular kind of a thought, a tradition, something your passion, your own passion, be clear about that. I was told, for example, when I was in IIM Ahmedabad, director after director used to caution me. The first 2-3 directors, Professor Paul, who is no more, did say too many things. One day he said, we were working in Biawar, near Ajmer. We went to the villages there. Ravi Mathai, I think, stepped aside and he wanted to take management to rural areas. So we were largely coming to Ajmer district, mobilizing a group of rural people. We looked at weavers and taught them how to weave better carpets, looked at leather workers, how to use better technology, and brought NID here, how to make better kind of products. Tried to mobilize agriculture. A lot of tomatoes grow in Biawar. I mean, Abu Road you will find tomatoes. I don't know at this point of time. At one point of time, tomatoes used to be very cheap. You get a 10 kilo packet in those days for some 2 rupees or something like that. But at the same thing, when it comes to Delhi, you know what the price would be and so on. We wanted to teach the rural folk in Biawar to borrowing Korean's model to organize themselves into cooperatives and market their product. It did not work. What works in milk may not work in tomatoes. And in fact, we learned a lot of lessons that you will have to fight at a different level and things like that. So when I was doing all this work, director called me the day when I was to be promoted from assistant professor to professor. The director called me to say that, look, I'm promoting you, we are promoting you, we decided to promote you, but we are not very happy with the kind of work that you are doing. This is very unusual kind of work. I was startled when I got my promotion announcement. He said, we are not here, we are not a social work school. You are doing social work. He could not say anything to Professor Mathai. He said it to me. I mean, it was meant for Mathai. I couldn't even share with Mathai. It's okay. So then Vyas, Professor Vyas, again, he was Prime Minister's advisor, previous Prime Ministers. He was director IIM. He said, TV, you are in entrepreneurship, you are in organizational behavior, you are also in this new thing called HRD, you are working with health systems, you are in rural development, you are in education, be focused. Take one thing and do that and not too many things. I don't know where, this is my friendly advice to you, I don't know where this will lead to you. I said, sir, but I'm doing, these are all sectors. I am a behavioral scientist. I apply my behavioral sciences anywhere. Yeah, that is a nice answer you are giving, but I think you need to be focused. You choose yourself. Now, to me, the whole world. Then, 10 years later, when I worked on a very interesting concept you mentioned, Human Development Index, I have come across. I was a Commonwealth Secretariat consultant working in London, and I was asked to draw a book for CHOGM. The Commonwealth heads of government are going to meet in 1993 to discuss number of things, and one of the topics they want to discuss was HRD development. What lessons can Commonwealth countries learn from the developed countries? So I was working on this. That is when I came across in 1991 Human Development Index. That index was brought out by UNDP in the year 1990. If a people in a country can know how to live longer, have a good skill base and have good quality of life, then that particular country has well developed human resources. They ranked. And India was 90 out of 110 countries. It was a shame. In India, I felt so proud. We are third largest scientific manpower we have, single largest democracy in the world, and I go to London and you are told 89 countries have better developed human resources than you, and here we have HRD network, HRD first country to have a HRD ministry, so you feel ashamed. Now that is what helped me at least to see the Human Development Index as health, education. I mean, you totally look at world as a whole. So I didn't bother about Vyas saying it or Professor Paul saying it. Look, why are we? So to me, this is passion, and I continue passion in the sense. Okay, I see the linkage. So as long as you see the linkage, now that is what brings out the passion in you. That is your goal. You have to be there. If you don't have there, okay, now Vyas said, I will stop. Then I go back to Vyas and ask Vyas, so where do you want me to focus? Health? You tell me. So I ask my boss, you tell me. My boss decides my life. He will say, they are all ready-made KPIs there, yeah, do your KPIs. Okay. Now, sorry, I think this is where you need to work out your life. Do not, because bosses will obviously work on KPIs. Now, you don't expect the boss to help you to make a difference. You work to make a difference. Your boss is struggling hard to make a difference in his life. So why are you bothered about your boss helping you? I think you have to find. So have a picture. The picture can be as simple as I want to be a good human being as a HR manager. I want to make a difference in the lives of anybody whom I come across. So you are a HR chief or you are a production manager and 400 people are working with you. You set your goal. What is the goal? Something more than your KRS and KPIs. Or you don't want to set any goal, no, I have no time to think. Okay, go out and then you set a goal for, there is a professor by name whom I have talked about in my book, which you will get copies of it. You know, this book called Effective People. This is my latest book. I will take a few minutes to talk about it. I have a presentation there. Effective people, this is, after I wrote this managers who make a difference, I started asking what makes people effective in different sectors. I said, let me look at people who are doctors. What makes a doctor effective doctor? Professors, what makes a professor effective professor? I said, managers, his corporate sector, his book is already written. We thought enough of it. Now let me go into social workers, what makes them? Civil servant, what makes them effective in their? So I picked up some of the people who are effective. Civil servants. Now those of you who are in Rajasthan will come across this interesting gentleman by name Indrajit Khanna. Some of you have heard of it. He is retired as chief secretary. He lives in an ordinary house. He didn't make money. Most honest civil servant, IAS officer. And he was director of education in the earlier years. He was collector, I think, also Ajmer, then secretary planning, secretary UGC. He was also joint secretary in economic affairs. Then came back and chief secretary, election commissioner in Rajasthan, and so on. So many positions he held, but never made money. The other day he wrote an interesting kind of a small case he wrote, because he was invited by the academy at Mussoorie to come back and teach, say, tell us something, share a case, share an experience. And he wrote this interesting case to share his experience. He said 2 weeks ago, this happened last month, in January I think this has happened. 2 weeks ago, I received a call that an old friend of mine died in Delhi and I had to attend his funeral. I received the call in the midnight and I went to the bus stand to pick up the bus. The Rajasthan Roadways bus has already left by the time. So the Haryana Roadways bus was available. I sat in the bus and in between they stopped in some place for a cup of tea or breakfast. So I went out to have breakfast and by the time I finished and came back I found the bus left. But in the bus was my briefcase with all the whatever things I was carrying, my money and my ticket, all kinds of things were there in that. Then I didn't know I was quite, because I had to attend the funeral and so on. And then I think within about 10-15 minutes, another Haryana Roadways bus came. I went to the driver and explained to him my situation. He said, don't worry sir, you will get that bus. He assured me that I will get the bus. And I was getting anxious, but this fellow stopped, he hurried up the passengers a little. I think we finished the breakfast, everyone came. and he got me to sit in the bus. Then he picked up his mobile, telephoned the other fellow, so and so, you left the bus, you left without collecting so and so passenger, his seat number is that, and he is supposed to get up at IFCO Chowk. I'm sure you all know in Delhi, IFCO Chowk. So he has to get this particular suitcase at IFCO Chowk. Please either leave it with somebody or you stay until we come. He went with speed. I think about 15 minutes he covered up, and we found that the bus was there. He stopped them. The bus was there. They handed over the suitcase to him. The funeral was over. Next morning I was coming. I went to Jodhpur house, where I think from where the Rajasthan Roadways buses leave. I went there and then I picked up the Rajasthan Roadways bus. The bus was half empty. And IFCO Chowk, it stopped to pick up some other passengers. An old lady got into the bus. 10 minutes after the bus moved, the old lady, when they went to collect the ticket, he discovered the old lady carries a ticket which is supposed to be a bus, Rajasthan Roadways bus, to be taken 15 minutes after. And immediately the conductor said, sorry, you have a wrong ticket, I am going to stop the bus and get you off. She pleaded, she said that how can I go back to IFCO Chowk now? Because after all I have booked on also Rajasthan Roadways bus. He did not listen. He asked her to get out. The poor lady had to get down several kilometers after that with her briefcase and with a ticket, and then maybe she will have to take an auto and go back to IFCO Chowk to catch this. This is the behavior of two conductors, Rajasthan Roadways and Haryana. And an IAS officer, chief secretary, writing this case to teach the IAS officers. What does this indicate? Of course, there is a lot about these two bus drivers. And I think what difference they made in the lives of other people and so on. I think a chief secretary, Indrajit Khanna, in my view, has been a great, I mean, all the time he was talking of values and so on. Any of you in Rajasthan, Jaipur, meet Indrajit Khanna. He's a wonderful chap to meet. Now he works with, he does a little bit of ordinary work with Mittal Foundation, I think. He goes to the villages, starts. Now one IAS officer, another IAS officer. Mission of Indrajit Khanna is maintain values. He did not use any of his connections to get any big jobs for his daughter. Okay, this is what you will find. Anil Bodia, another Rajasthan cadre person, very interesting kind of a person. So I picked up all these. All through his life he was devoted to education. Wherever he is posted, he will come back to education. That is his mission in life. So he is a missionary. I think the only IAS officer, when he died, I think thousands of people gathered for his whatever the doctors. He used to be a doctor called Dr. M.C. Modi. Those of you from Karnataka know Dr. M.C. Modi. Eye operations, Guinness book, yes. Guinness. Okay. He will, on train also he will conduct operations. And that is the kind of a thing. And he never made any big money or anything of it. He devoted all his life. Or you look at Devi Shetty, saw his father dying out of, and didn't have enough. And he becomes a great doctor. And what is his mission? To conduct low-cost operations to children and all possible kind of people. He could amass wealth. Like Trehan, of course, Trehan is in a different category altogether, but he is also helping by doing quite some, but his help is of a different nature. Or Panda, different nature. So you look at the doctors. Film actors or cricketers. Most of them make money as much as possible. But some of them donate for charity. I can't do anything else. I am a good actor. All that I can do is I can give a part of what I, at least charity, fund schools, fund colleges, offer, I think whatever little you can do, you are doing. So I want to make a difference. Bachchan tried. He said, I want to also pass on my, because I define an effective person as one. An effective person is one who discovers the talent and uses it for the benefit of others. This is my definition. Effective person is not one who discovers talent and uses it to make more and more money and become very wealthy person. Wealth doesn't take you anywhere. It gives you more and more unhappiness if you only aim at wealth. If you use wealth as a means for something else, it gives you happiness. because there are studies which are conducted about wealthy people, and they discover there are two types of wealthy people. One type of wealthy people who are wealthy and want to become more wealthy, they are never happy. And number two, wealthy people who want to use their wealth for the benefit of the society, they are all the time happy. They are very happy, charitable. That is why Ajim Premji, I think, has donates, or you have so many people like of Microsoft friend and so on. They do all that. Film actors. Anupam Kher. Very interesting. I mean, you forget the controversies he got himself into in the recent past. I am not talking of anybody as a politician. Anybody enters politics, you are gone, finished. Because your values are questionable. Become questionable. Even if your values are intact, they get questioned. So I don't touch politicians, because in my view they are all of the same category. So I will not, because I will lose whatever I have learned if I have decided. Forget about Anupam Kher, the politician part of it. He is only one of the few actors who started a school called Actor Prepares. And his life is a very interesting life. In fact, in this book I have talked of something. I was listening to Anupam Kher one day. Very interesting kind of a talk. And he talked of some very interesting events. He was born in an ordinary family. His father was a clerk in a forest department. And there were about 10-15 of them are living in a room. I was told about one fourth of this room. That is his house and life when he was young. So in his school, when you get promoted, 9th to 10th standard, when you get promoted, the results are not announced, but you are asked to sit in the next higher class. All 9th standard fellows are shifted to 10th standard. And a month after that, results are announced. If you didn't make it, then you have to go back to the. So Anupam Kher said that he got promoted to 10th standard, but the results have not come. Already a few weeks are over. One of the afternoons, his father walks in to the class, the clerk. His father, I mean, they are, because there is a family, would celebrate once in a while any great birthdays or a family get together, and they used to go to a restaurant called Alpha Restaurant. This is in 50s or maybe 60s story. He used to go to this Alpha Restaurant and celebrate whatever they have, and twice in a year. And in Alpha Restaurant, very expensive restaurant for them in those days, they would only ask for standard menu, mutton samosa, gulab jamun, espresso coffee, which was very expensive. So this is what Anupam Kher told me, this story. He said that, look, this is what we have. And in the month of May, we already celebrated. And June sometime, my father comes in the afternoon to my class and he says, chal beta chal, Alpha chalte hain. तो हम लोग गया अल्फा रेस्टोरेंट. मैं तो वंडर कर रहा था अल्फा को क्यों लाया पिताजी मेरे को, 10th standard, no? So you keep wondering, you don't want to ask your father, but so he said, क्या खाओगे? अभी आए हैं पिताजी, अभी क्या खाने का है? नहीं आप बोलो क्या खाओगे? ठीक है, सेम गुलाब जामुन, मटन समोसा. So he ordered for it. So at the end of it, he said that पिताजी क्या बात है, आपको प्रमोशन हुआ? What is the matter? Why are you celebrating this? Sir, बेटा तुम फेल हो गया. फेल हो गया 10th standard में, and you are celebrating this? What is this? I am stunned. He said, beta, because I want you to learn never to fear failure. He said, this is what my father told me. I am celebrating this so that you will learn never to fear failure. And he said, this is the biggest lesson I have learned. And then he narrates how it has helped. When he was shooting for this Hum Aapke Hai Kaun, he had a partial paralytic attack which affected his face. He went to the neurologist. The neurologist said, sorry, you have to go back to Shimla. You can't act, because his face was showing. He more or less decided, because the doctor said, he packed everything. And he said, I'll go to the sets and inform my people. I went there and informed all my, because I have this problem, you may not even. So I'm going to. They all said, no, nothing doing. You're going to complete this. They all forced me to complete. I mean, they said that you stay on. And had I gone to Shimla at the time, I would have never returned. But because I stayed on, And he said, now you watch my movie, back on that particular scene, passing on the pillow, you will find my actual this particular. Now, I think all this says that the way you have treated a childhood, never fear failure, it gets into the mind. And this is what I have learned from Anupam Kher in his actor prepares. Now, when you listen to some of these people, you know, is he acting? What is this? So I began my book by, the actor's chapter begins by saying, I was invited by the CAG Academy, Computer Auditor General of India. There is their academy in Shimla, about 3 years after this, 2 years after that, to go and talk to them. I went to Shimla. First thing I did was look for Alpha restaurant. I went to the restaurant, ordered for mutton samosa, and got the bill, and again kept the bill for 2 years because it was very sentimental. It verifies the integrity of the actor. He did not tell me something, so that credibility is very, very important. And later Anupam Kher wrote a book in which all these things are. So I admire him, what he is passing on his knowledge, preparing others. Of course, he is not keeping quiet, he may be sharing right or wrong, whatever. I think he is participating in this. So among the actors, I found very few, among the cricketers, I found very few who want to spread their knowledge, like Sehwag Academy, or Padukone, I think started a badminton academy. If you look at most of the others, they are quite happy making money, but some of it they pass on to charity. Okay, that is, I call them as level 2, but level 3 is when you start your academy where you want to spread this. Effective people, wherever you are. This is the conclusion of the book. I classified people into 3 categories. Effective person, that means you use your talent for the benefit of others. 1, 2, 3. Is a professor an effective person? By definition, all professors should be. By definition, all doctors should be. By definition, all HR managers should be, because you are supposed to use your talent for the benefit of others. But in reality, 80% are not. Because a doctor does not treat the patient to help the patient recover from the disease, but to collect his fee. To collect, you treat the patient because you want to collect the fee, you want to get rid of him. 2 minutes, finish. No explanation, nothing doing, okay? You have lined up the whole thing. Dispensary makes money on the drugs, time, and so on. So you are not an effective doctor in that sense. You may be a good doctor. You treat patients well. Or you are an effective doctor in another kind of a sense. You are a very effective doctor, you treat your patients well. But in my definition, you are not effective because you are not concerned about the patient. You are only doing a job. You are not. Same thing with the teacher. I go to teach to collect my salary, then I am not an effective teacher. A HR manager, to go to office to collect the salary and look for next change, 20% more, I quit this company, you are not an effective manager. You quit the company because your talent is not used. Okay, you are an effective manager, maybe. But you quit the company because you are getting 20% more salary, you are not an effective HR manager. The most important thing for effective HR manager or a teacher or a doctor is concern for your other person. This is what I have called. Anybody who shows concern, wherever you work, if you are concerned about all your employees in the neighborhood, as a HR manager, you are an effective HR manager, you are an effective production manager, you are an effective teacher. Then I found the next level of effectiveness is that you are not happy merely by being effective with the 10, 15, 20 or 500 people whom you are serving. You want to make it available to others. What do? Now Thiru is one of those who got quite a few awards. Isn't it? In the HR fraternity you got quite a few awards. Even the other day, I don't know how many of you know that he got an award. So like Thiru, all the pictures I have put of people like Santanu Mishra, they also got awards. Why do they get awards? Because they have political connections. I mean, there are no politicians there too. Because they have done good work and disseminated the work. There are many people who do good work but don't disseminate. They are effective HR managers, but more effective HR managers do good work and share it with others. Vivekananda should be followed. He went and gave such a wonderful speech, and all his behavior Chicago is documented. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, you take anyone, all the slokas you have read out. These are the people who said that, look, I want to make this available. Very effective people are take care of the people with whom they work, but they also talk. They also share their knowledge. When you share whatever good work that you have done, two things happen. If somebody has done even better work, you will learn about this. If there is something wrong with the work you are doing, you will learn about it. If you are doing right, then the third thing will happen, other people will learn from it. So I said very effective people are one stage above the number of people they attach, or the number of people they benefit. They make a difference. And I found a third category, super effective people. Now when you are super effective, your thoughts are not merely how do I benefit a large number, but your thoughts are, when I go also, when I am no more, how do people get benefit from me? I want to see how people get benefit from me. So when I write a book, HRD Missionary, it's available even after I'm dead. It's there. So write book, document it. It will be there. Many people will read. Or I start an institution. Hopefully, if it follows whatever has been said, it is there. So I found many ways super effective people institutionalize their talent. Devi Shetty institutionalizes his talent. Everywhere, I think, you find Narayan Netralaya, Narayan Hridayalaya, all kinds of things. I think in so many countries, I think he develops, creates that kind of a model. Anil Gupta, a colleague of mine in Ahmedabad, starts Sh T and institutionalizes and starts the Innovations Foundation of India. And there is another person, a professor from IIM Bangalore, he was an IIM Ahmedabad product, Jagdeep Chokar and Trilochan Shastri. They are very unhappy with the way the politicians cheat the country, criminals coming into politics. So they go to court. Jagdeep Chokar at the age of 65 completes his law degree. And after he retired, he didn't seek any extension in IIM. He goes to Delhi, settles down in the Forum for Democratic Reforms, ADR, Association for Democratic Reforms. They made sure today all politicians at least declare their assets in the criminal record. Only that much, but next step they will take and so on. So they are not. Now I asked the Trilochan, you are teaching operations research and you are doing this work. What is the link between operations research and doing this work? Is it 9 to 5 operations research and 5 to 9 Association for Democratic Reform? He said no. I also take what I do in democratic reforms to my class and talk of operations management and so on. So I integrate with, he found a knack of integrating, teaching them, because he has access to so many records and he can talk of so many operations and things of that kind. So you can integrate, even if you don't integrate, it doesn't matter. So super effective people, in social work there are many such kind of people. So that is the other kind of a book. Now you combine both these, what we are there for in some, I am saying is, we can make a difference. Organizations are platforms. If you use the platform 9 to 5, I think you can do a wonderful job and integrate and become a successful kind of a person. If you can't use for some reason 9 to 5, use 5 to 9 and you can make a difference. And when you make a difference, I think it certainly puts you into a totally different orbit. You healthy, you live longer, you are more confident, you make others live longer, you enjoy life, you create. That is the conclusion, and I will talk of the 10 steps if still time permits. Those 10 things are things by which you can become harmony. Okay.
So one genuine and very much sincere question. While after listening to you and many more, a question is coming into my mind, and when most of our audience can also think of this, why can't we eliminate the, no sir, it's okay. Why can't we eliminate the category of white and blue collar and make whole team as one single, maybe you call it as a worker representative or maybe a managerial category of employees, but they should only think of the interest of the company and the society. how we can do it, sir, how it can help us, enlighten us in this matter. Maybe, and I'm just putting this question to the whole
the
forum.
only response I can give is do it. Do it, start in your place. Why not? It's a great idea. Great idea to do that. And in fact, I think increasingly many people are talking about it. If you read the Khandelwal committee report, Anil Khandelwal and I have worked for the banks, we have said ultimately you should eliminate the clerical staff. All are officers. Everyone is an officer. Why this kind of a distinction?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's really a sincere and genuine question.
Sure, very good. I mean, my answer to this is do that. Why not? Now, who introduces this white and blue collar? First, it is in our mind. Second, these academics, I think, created for their
Then,
own
sir,
reasons.
policies, statutories, so many other things.
That is something which you have to work out. You will have to work out with government. The moment you go to the government, politics come into picture. The moment you come to politics, you know the answer. You know the answer. Our country, very unfortunately, is headed to more dividing people than to integrating. The move that you are making, I want to particularly request you to read the last chapter in my book. Last chapter in my book is, if you want to be a super effective person, you have no alternative but to be value driven and integrative. Integrative. You have to have an integrative mindset. There is a lot of fight today among political parties on integrating, but in essence what they are doing is dividing. All parties, no exception. They don't realize by talking of integrating, they are constantly dividing, because they don't talk of integrating, they talk of dividing and they pay lip sympathy to it. Now forget about politicians. Don't we divide it in our corporations? How do you divide? A finance man has to do finance job. Production man has to do production job. If the production person has no right to talk of cost control, only the finance man will talk about it unless it is a part of his KRA. The quality man has to do quality. The production man may not have much to do with quality. Don't tell me all these things. I know my job and things like that. We have, our departments have divided. My department now, today is worse. You are all lucky fellows, at least if you are not divided. Let me tell you my experience today. What is this divisiveness? How the society is moving today. In the olden days, if I bought a refrigerator, I go to any shop, buy the refrigerator, and immediately the fellow will come, he will fix it up, he will operate, show, it's the same fellow, will do all of it, and any trouble I have, I contact him. There is one person. Now today my experience is totally different. The sales girl who sells the refrigerator, once I agree, it's a good one, I want to buy it, her job is over. She says, our billing department. You go to the billing department. Now I go to the billing department says, I mean the sales girl will make sure that you bill it. Then I ask the person that when will you deliver? He said, well, that I do not know. You have to contact the warehouse, the delivery fellow. What do you mean? He said, our job is only to sell, we have sold. You know, this Samsung company has its own warehouse. I'll give you if you want there. So I can't tell you. Or the warehouse fellow, I think, comes and delivers. And after he delivers, he says the installation fellow is different. It is outsourced to somebody else. So you have somebody to supply you, somebody to, and you want a service, the servicing fellow is totally different. Installation is different. And if you have a complaint, you don't know. I bought an air cooler, it had one component missing at one point, and the component was 10 rupees component, where I think the water leaks out if you don't have that plastic. I spent 3 days to find out a supplier for that plastic. The company didn't know. Ultimately, I located in a corner of Ahmedabad, somebody who makes plastics have been given this particular kind of thing. Why don't you think of it integrating and so on? So our society has become more, in the name of outsourcing, has become more and more divisive. It happens in medical profession. I have seen several cases of pneumonia leading to death due to heart attack or kidney failure. You start with pneumonia, the fellow treats you only for pneumonia. He is not bothered about the rest of the things. Then when you use certain drugs, it creates certain complications. He said, it's not my job. Then you go there and you have to go to a liver fellow or a kidney fellow. and you get the kidney treated and you have heart this one. So you are across a 5 to 6 months, you are in about half a dozen intensive care units under the, this is exactly what happened to Dr. Vaipal. Toward the end of his life, I think he was on last October assignment to Bangalore, and he is allergic to Bangalore normally. He got an asthma attack, came home, and for quite some time he was getting treated for usual asthma, then it led to pneumonia. From pneumonia it led to, I think, the kidney problems, from kidney problems to heart problems, and a whole lot of things. And it is not the only story of Uday Parikh. Very recently it happened to another person. So this is symbolic of divisiveness. Specialization is necessary, but specialization without looking at the whole body, holistic kind of a view, creates problems. This is also the same with the society. So you divided white collar and blue collar, it solved certain kind of problems. Today it will solve political problems. Where will the Ministry of Labour will go the moment you abolish this particular kind of? Where will all these regulations go? Do you think we don't know solutions for our country? We know the solutions, but we don't want to do it because we have so many ministries to take care of, so many politicians to be engaged, so many jobs to be created. So we have divide and rule.
So there was a company.
Very good thought, but I think, can we do it at our level? You are a HR manager. Everyone is an HR manager. We always say, the day HR manager is successful on the day when HR manager is not needed. You are not needed. Why? Because everyone is made a HR manager. Everyone takes up his or her own HR. Why are you needed? The day when everyone takes up their own HR people have created that kind of an environment where they can never be, nobody will say you are not needed. They will say, give us more knowledge so that we can do better HR. You become a knowledge supplier. You don't become a controller of knowledge, you become a supplier of knowledge. That is what happens. So I think that is the future is certainly in integrating. The last chapter, I have given many examples in life on why very effective people look at it in an integrative way. Now, why did Devi Shetty started with heart and goes on to Netralaya, goes on to something else and so on? Because they all realize that you can't just be treating one particular part of it. That is the way it is. So high time we abolished blue collar, white collar, but who will tell the cat? You don't wait for political change. You can do it in your own level. That is your attitude. In my office, in my Bangalore office, I know those of you who visited assessment development centers, all the staff, including the CEOs, sit together and eat, including the lady who prepares and sweeps the floor. They sit together and eat. Long ago, Japanese management talked about it, have the same kind of a thing. We went through that after some time. I think sometimes some of us have given up, some of us have not. But why not? It is the distinction is in your mind. The day you abolish it, the whole thing will change. There are no clerks in banks. All are officers. Why should they have clerks? Yes.
So pardon me for my low IQ and please correct me if I am wrong. Don't we have these doers, achievers, everything within our own, that is means I would be, a part of me would be a doer, a part of me would be an achiever, a part of me would be a visionary and a leader and sometimes a missionary. And then I keep on shuffling from one to the other. That is the first part. Second is, there is a path for moving from doers to achievers. But then, how do I avoid regressing back to the lower level? That
good question. I think you have once you have reached a visionary, a missionary stage, you can't come back. The mission continues. But you come back necessarily for carrying out your missionary thing. Sometimes you are a doer. Mother Teresa won't say, I am a missionary, I will not look after this fellow whom I find on the road. She will go and do that and demonstrate to all the people and give lectures. Okay, she will do all that. So you are very right in saying that you may be, all of us contain all of it, but a higher order is in the driver's seat. Your missionary is in your driver's seat. At a given point of time, you may have stopped driving and started refueling it, started loading it. You do a whole lot of things, so you may be a doer at a given point, you may be a achiever at a given point of time. But you have, the moment visionary or a missionary is on your driver's seat, if your driver's seat is only achievement, then you are limited only by that. So you are a doer and then you are an achiever, you are shifting. So my point is, try to always put in the driver's seat, in your driver's seat, a higher order. That is the point. So you are very right, I mean, it is not a low IQ question, it is a high IQ question that you have asked. And I am glad that you have asked that question. All of us, in fact, this whole book talks about it. And these qualities I have enumerated here. First quality that you have said, please, all managers have to be versatile. You can't just say, my job is to visualize. Your job may be to visualize only for a small part of the time. Your job is to educate, you have to communicate. Your job is to look at technology and technological development. Your job is to look at systems. Your job is to look at juniors. Your job is to manage your seniors. Your job is to manage your colleagues. Your job is to constantly build. So there is a versatility we are doing. So that the chapter deals with how can you be versatile. And versatility, I mean, like a mother is versatile, if you really look at it. Every manager has to be versatile. But some of us, what we cling on to something and forget about the rest. So you recognize, you will have to. I mean, life is, the second question I talked about, high sense of efficacy. All these people who make effective people, as well as managers who make a difference, have a good self-concept. Their self-concept is that they are resourceful, they are positive thinkers, they are long-term goal-driven, very, very important kind. They have a high sense of efficacy. And I have given a very interesting example in my book where we talk of role efficacy. I think this is interesting. Role efficacy is a concept Uday Parikh has developed. And role efficacy is a matter of attitude. How do you treat your role? Okay, and that's a very interesting example at some point when I will quote on that. Ability to recognize that success and failure from their actions through hard work. You need to believe on internality, locus of control. Some of you know all this. Being value driven, both for effective people and I think you have got to be value driven. Good team workers, collaborating in nature. There is no substitution for collaboration. I'm sure you heard of Octopus values. Most of you would know. Openness, collaboration, trust and trustworthiness, authenticity, autonomy, proactivity, experimentation. These are the values that are required. These people by and large follow these values. And you need to be a strong and credible communicator. Communication is very important. You ask me, one quality that you have to develop to move from visionary, to the visionary level is the ability to articulate and communicate. In fact, that is leadership. There is this professor from Michigan University who has written this book, Leadership Engine. Can you look for the name? I normally forget his name. Right, Noel Tichy. That's the name. Noel Tichy has written this very interesting book called Leadership Engine. He worked with GE. Yeah, and he did a lot in terms of transformation. Dave Ulrich, Noel Tichy, C.K. Prahlad, all of them were. Now, Noel Tichy has a very interesting, said all leaders are good teachers. All leaders. You cannot be a leader if you don't teach. Leaders who don't communicate can't be recognized as leaders. So you may feel, oh no, I have all ideas, but you keep it yourself, don't talk with people. Then your ideas will remain with you. You are a big light, but you have covered it. The big shadow is what he says. But then he says another interesting thing. All leaders have a teachable point of view and teach a point of view. The moment you have a point of view and teach it to others, you are already a leader. So you are a leader is a teacher, you have a teachable point of view. What is a teachable point of view? Do we have these kids from 9th standard, 10th standard? Have they come back here? No, they have not come back. Okay. Who is the youngest in this class? Who just joined the company in the last... when did you join, man? Mindset. There is a lot of fight today among political parties on integrating, but in essence what they are doing is dividing. All parties, no exception. They don't realize by talking of integrating, They are constantly dividing because they don't talk of integrating, they talk of dividing and they pay lip sympathy to it. Now forget about politicians. Don't we divide it in our corporations? How do you divide? A finance man has to do finance job. Production man has to do production job. If the production person has no right to talk of cost control, only the finance man will talk about it unless it is a part of his KRA. The quality man has to do quality, the production man may not have much to do with quality. Don't tell me all these things. I know my job and things like that. We have, our departments have divided. My department now, today is worse. You are all lucky fellows, at least if you are not divided. Let me tell you my experience today. What is this divisiveness? How the society is moving today. In the olden days, if I bought a refrigerator, I go to any shop, buy the refrigerator, and immediately the fellow will come, he will fix it up, he will operate, show, the same fellow will do all of it, and any trouble I have, I contact you. There is one person. Now today my experience is totally different. The sales girl who sells the refrigerator, once I agree, it's a good one, I want to buy it, her job is over. She says, our billing department. You go to the billing department. Now I go to the billing department say, I mean the sales girl will make sure that you bill it. Then I ask the person that when will you deliver? He said, well, that I do not know. You have to contact the warehouse, the delivery fellow. What do you mean? He said, our job is only to sell. We have sold. You know, this Samsung company has its own warehouse. I'll give you if you want there. So I can't tell you. Now the warehouse fellow, I think, comes and delivers. And after he delivers, he says the installation fellow is different. It is outsourced to somebody else. So you have somebody to supply you, somebody to, and you want a service, the service and fellow is totally different. Installation is different. And if you have a complaint, you don't know. I bought an air cooler, it had one component missing at one point, and the component was 10 rupees component, where I think the water leaks out if you don't have that plastic. I spent 3 days to find out a supplier for that plastic. The company didn't know. Ultimately, I located in a corner of Ahmedabad, somebody who makes plastics have been given this particular kind of thing. Why don't you think of it integrating and so on? So our society has become more, in the name of outsourcing, has become more and more divisive. It happens in medical profession. I have seen several cases of pneumonia leading to death due to heart attack or kidney failure. You start with pneumonia, the fellow treats you only for pneumonia. He is not bothered about the rest of the things. Then when you use certain drugs, it creates certain complications. He said, it's not my job. Then you go there, then you have to go to a liver fellow or a kidney fellow. And you get the kidney treated, then you have heart, this one. So you are across a 5 to 6 months, you are in about half a dozen intensive care units under this is exactly what happened to Dr. Vaidya. Toward the end of his life, I think he was on last and October assignment to Bangalore, and he is allergic to Bangalore normally. He got an asthma attack, came home, and for quite some time he was getting treated for usual asthma, then it led to pneumonia. From pneumonia it led to, I think, the kidney problems, from kidney problems to heart problems, and a whole lot of things. And it is not the only story of Uday Parikh. Very recently it happened to another person. So this is symbolic of divisiveness. Specialization is necessary. But specialization without looking at the whole body, holistic kind of a view, creates problems. This is also the same with the society. So you divided white collar and blue collar, it solved certain kind of problems. Today it will solve a political problem. Where will the Ministry of Labour will go the moment you abolish this particular kind of? Where will all these regulations go? Do you think we don't know solutions for our country? We know the solutions, but we don't want to do it because we have so many ministries to take care of, so many politicians to be engaged, so many jobs to be created. So we have divide and rule.
So there was a company.
Very good thought, but I think, can we do it at our level? You are a HR manager. Everyone is a HR manager. We always said, the day HR manager is successful on the day when HR manager is not needed. You are not needed. Why? Because everyone is made a HR manager. Everyone takes up his or her own HR. Why are you needed? The day when everyone takes up their own HR people have created that kind of an environment where they can never be, I mean, nobody will say you are not needed. They will say, give us more knowledge so that we can do better HR. You become a knowledge supplier. You don't become a controller of knowledge, you become a supplier of knowledge. That is what happens. So I think that is the future is certainly in integrating. The last chapter, I have given many examples in life on why very effective people look at it in an integrative way. Now, why did Devi Shetty started with heart and goes on to Netralaya, goes on to something else, and so on? Because they all realize that you can't just be treating one particular part of it. That is the way it is. So, high time we abolished blue collar, white collar, but who will tell the cat? No, you don't wait for political change. You can do it in your own level. That is your attitude. In my office, in my Bangalore office, I know those of you who visited assessment development centers, all the staff, including the CEOs, sit together and eat, including the lady who prepares and sweeps the floor. They sit together and eat. Long ago, Japanese management talked about it, have the same kind of a thing. We went through that after some time. I think sometimes some of us have given up, some of us have not. But why not? It is the distinction is in your mind. The day you abolish it, the whole thing will change. There are no clerks in banks, all are officers. Why should they have clerks? Yes.
So pardon me for my low IQ and please correct me if I'm wrong. Don't we have these doers, achievers, everything within our own, that is means I would be, a part of me would be a doer, a part of me would be an achiever, a part of me would be a visionary and a leader, and sometimes a missionary. And then I keep on shuffling from one to the other. That is the first part of it. Second is, there is a path for moving from doers to achievers. But then, how do I avoid regressing back to the lower level? That
good question. I think you have, once you have reached a visionary, a missionary stage, you can't come back. The mission continues. But you come back necessarily for carrying out your missionary thing. Sometimes you are a doer. Mother Teresa won't say, I am a missionary, I will not look after this fellow whom I find on the road. She will go and do that and demonstrate to all the people and give lectures. Okay, she will do all that. So you are very right in saying that you may be, all of us contain all of it, but the higher order is in the driver's seat. Your missionary is in your driver's seat. At a given point of time, you may have stopped driving and started refueling it, started loading it. You do a whole lot of things, so you may be a doer at a given point, you may be an achiever at a given point of time, but you have the moment visionary or a missionary is on your driver's seat. If your driver's seat is only achievement, then you are limited only by that. So you are a doer and then you are an achiever, you are shifting. So my point is, try to always put in the driver's seat, in your driver's seat, a higher order. That is the point. So you are very right, I mean, it is not a low IQ question, it is a high IQ question that you have asked. And I am glad that you have asked that question. All of us, in fact, this whole book talks about it. And these qualities I have enumerated here. First quality that you have said, please, all managers have to be versatile. You can't just say, my job is to visualize. Your job may be to visualize only for a small part of the time. Your job is to educate, you have to communicate. Your job is to look at technology and technological development. Your job is to look at systems. Your job is to look at juniors. Your job is to manage your seniors. Your job is to manage your colleagues. Your job is to constantly build. So there is a versatility we are doing. So that the chapter deals with how can you be versatile. And versatility, I mean, like a mother is versatile, if you really look at it. Every manager has to be versatile. But some of us, what we cling on to something and forget about the rest. So you recognize, you will have to. I mean, life is, the second question I talk about, high sense of efficacy. All these people who make effective people, as well as managers who make a difference, have a good self-concept. Their self-concept is that they are resourceful, they are positive thinkers, They are long-term goal-driven, very, very important kind. They have a high sense of efficacy. And I have given a very interesting example in my book where we talk of role efficacy. I think this is interesting. Role efficacy is a concept Uday Parikh has developed. And role efficacy is a matter of attitude. How do you treat your role? Okay? And it's a very interesting example at some point when I quote on that. Ability to recognize that success and failure from their actions through hard work. You need to believe on internality, locus of control, some of you know all this. Being value driven, both for effective people and I think you have got to be value driven. Good team workers, collaborating in nature. There is no substitution for collaboration. I'm sure you heard of octopus values. Most of you would know. Openness, collaboration, trust and trustworthiness, authenticity, autonomy, proactivity, experimentation. These are the values that are required. These people by and large follow these values. And you need to be a strong and credible communicator. Communication is very important. You ask me one quality that you have to develop to move from visionary, to visionary level is the ability to articulate and communicate. In fact, that is leadership. There is this professor from Michigan University who has written this book, Leadership Engine. Can you remember the name? I normally forget his name too. Right, Noel Tichy. That's the name. Noel Tichy has written this very interesting book called Leadership Engine. He worked with GE. Yeah, and he did a lot in terms of transformation. They will read Noel Tichy, C.K. Prahlad, all of them were. Now, Noel Tichy has a very interesting, said all leaders are good teachers. All leaders. You cannot be a leader if you don't teach. Leaders who don't communicate can't be recognized as leaders. So you may feel, oh no, I have all ideas, but keep it yourself, don't talk with people. Then your ideas will remain with you. You are a big light, but you have covered it. The big shadow is what he says. But then he says another interesting thing. All leaders have a teachable point of view and teach the point of view. The moment you have a point of view and teach it to others, you are already a leader. So you are a leader is a teacher, you have a teachable point of view. What is a teachable point of view? Do we have these kids from 9th standard, 10th standard? Have they come back here? No, they are not come back. Okay. Who is the youngest in this class? Who just joined the company in the last... when did you join, ma'am?
Last year.
So if somebody has to join, now you've spent 1 year by now, right? So if some newcomer, what is one suggestion you will give? How to get the best of some mistakes you have made, something you have done, or something you have done which I think some other person can learn, what you have done which helped you. So if I am joining your company and I want to seek your advice, what will you tell me? 1 or 2 lessons?
So first of all, to be in a team.
Yes.
To be in a team truly heartily. Because one team make a big difference.
Okay. So I should put my heart, whatever team I am in, I should put my heart and soul into it and then work well with that so that it makes a difference. So that is what you have, one of the things that you have learned. So I should respect all my team members. Can you write an essay on this? 2-page essay, 1-page essay, and put it in the blog of JK website for all newcomers. Mistakes I made, please don't make these mistakes. Lessons. Think about it. Okay? Now, just now you said 2 sentences. The moment you start thinking, nobody ever asked you. Suppose I'm asking you now. The moment you start, you will tell me, a week from now, you interview some more people. You talk to them. A week from now, you will tell me, Professor Rao, I can write a chapter. Not 2 pages, I'll write a chapter. So 1 week from now, you have to give me a chapter. Maybe 3 pages, 4 pages. A chapter on first year what you have learned and what can be. It's a teachable point of view. She is a leader. So, all those who join. So there is a leader in us because Sir, you have so many years of experience working with the company. All that you have said is a teachable point of view. Many things you have talked about, and at the end of it I said, from your experience, what you have articulated, and from my research, what I have found out, they are more or less the same. That's why I said that maybe there is no need for me to talk about it. I may have said it in a different way, but I've kept I kept the book here. I mean, there are some very interesting notes. You have the notes. He is on the top of the world. He disseminated. You discover the day he never knew that one day he is going to be a big person. So the talent is there, and today you don't have to wait for a publisher. There is a ready-made publisher for all of us. What is that? Blogs, yes, internet. You don't need anything. Get into internet, publish your blog, disseminate. You can be your own publisher. Somebody will support you. Somebody will be able to do it. So communication is very, very important. Then delegate, as I think, read the book, you will get all these things. So if you have a vision, if you have a long-term plan, if you articulate, if you communicate, I think for all these, the most important thing, which my second book talks of, discover your talent. You can't discover your talent by simply sitting at home. You must reflect, but you must do, and you must do a variety. And don't do the same thing year after year, day after day. When you do the same thing day after day, you are only perpetuating your lack of talent. I mean, it's okay. You will have to do things differently, all the time differently. There can't be, I mean, this I want to tell my HR friends, there can't be a better profession than HR to establish, it's a God-given opportunity. If you are in HR field, I think somebody has, God has chosen you to say you are human resource, it's legitimate role where you can do all that. Organization has offered you a platform. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Don't get obsessed with only targets and traditional ways of doing. I have succeeded, therefore this is the only way of doing it. This is the only way to conduct assessment centers. This is the only way to do 360-degree feedback. Sorry, no. You have to discover. How did I discover? Somebody in America called it 360-degree feedback, but I was doing it much before that. When somebody called it, I said that what I am doing, since Americans are calling, Indians normally follow Americans, not Indians. So I said I'll use the 360 term now. Okay, you didn't need, okay, Americans are very good. Assessment centers we were not following. That's a new terminology. But Army was following very well in terms of all these kinds of things. But again, today we are all struggling, and I am struggling for last 7 years. I have given up assessment centers last 5-6 years. I don't do much of it because I am struggling with one thing. Why should assessment centers be so expensive? Why should there be so many people, multiple assessors? What is the level of knowledge? Where has all of it have led to? Now, these are all question marks I have. So I said, no, I think until I discover something different, something new, I'm not going to do that. Now the discovery may come from some of you and say that I have worked out a much better way of doing an assessment. Until then you follow this particular kind of thing. So HR is a wonderful, and for non-HR people, don't feel jealous of us. I have also said all managers are HR managers. So treat our HR fellows with a little bit of respect, not with contempt. And say that, look, now tell me, I want to invite you. Tell me, how can I be a co-learner, co-experimenter? Use my unit as your experimental, okay? And I will make myself available to you. Build it. Okay? So you are totally in a different kind of world the moment you do that. Alright? I think I should stop. I can go on and on with this. It's 1 o'clock. I didn't bargain for 2-hour lecture. I bargained for